Koyo dear, how do I grab enemies? Good sir Koyo, how did you grab the enemy?
Do you know why I can't grab enemies?
How do you grab?
How do you grab? How do you grab?
How to grab? Well, I mean, are you gonna tell me? Tell me how to grab. No, okay, really though. Check the description.
Or you could join the Discord and ask the questions there, as well as even get easy access to mods and all sorts of other cool things.
Hey everybody, it's Coyoda, and I'm here to talk about the new update, which I could have sworn other people made videos for, so I was like, oh hey, everyone else has it covered, just maybe they didn't discuss the controls. I don't know. But nevertheless, here's the video, and we're going to talk about what is new in the Battle Talent 0.0.7 update. And perhaps anything else I might have missed from when I last did that video. But for one, grabbing is done via both triggers. You pull in both triggers, the bottom and the top ones, and you will grab anywhere on the enemy. No longer are you locked to only grabbing the wrists, the shoulders, and the ankles, and whatever, I think a certain part of the head, which was typically behind the head, you can grab wherever you want to. So that means certain Aikido and wrestling and all sorts of other grabbing maneuvers are now possible. And this is actually something I'm pretty sure Fonzie must have paid attention to in my last video, because I was mentioning all these different throwing techniques I'd love to do, and well, it seems he just decided to, well, not only go make it possible to grab enemies and wherever you want, but this does mean even if a weapon doesn't have a dual grip to it, you can actually dual grip weapons. Although it might feel a little strange, it is indeed possible. That also means it's possible to hold a gun more steadily if you're, holding it with two hands, etc. You could do other little interesting things this way. Though one really big addition was the Tomb Maze 2 and 3, or was it just 2, or was it 3? I'm not sure, but it adds the parkour system, which is pretty cool. In fact, no longer can you dash around as if you were using Trickster from Devil May Cry, and jumping is no longer a fast maneuver either. In fact, now there's jump height, which is determined by how you swing your arms upwards. So when you do swing your arms upwards with a certain amount of force, you will jump much higher than if you didn't. When you jump against specific walls, you will begin to run on those specified walls. You can also swing along little ropes that hang down. So, make sure you jump pretty high and pretty far, or then you're gonna fall and, well, lose some health, and hopefully you won't have to do that over and over until you die. That's what happened to me at first, but here I got it pretty consistently, so I don't know. Taking a break from the game and coming back made me somehow better. I guess I should mention that these are changes from February, so that was 0.004 that most of this stuff actually happened on. For example, they what was added, I'm just going to list things off here from the Discord, is wooden objects. These are climbable. I'll probably put this like somewhere in the video. Maybe it'll be later, or maybe it'll be as I'm talking about right now. But you have the ability to climb by using your weapons. You can stab them into these wooden pillars and then climb as if you were Wolverine stabbing his claws into a wall or something. You can also use your weapons as a pogo stick in that way too. If it is not one of these wooden pillars, you can like take your spear and then, just kind of hit it into the ground, and you'll get some airtime, and I don't know, you could be like Kane or Sid Highwind if you wanted to do a, jump attack. There's also, as I said, wall running. There's a sling rope. Oh yeah, that's right. There's a tutorial for learning all this. There's a parkour tutorial. As I mentioned, there is the Tomb Maze 2, which is the parkour dungeon. Oh, right, how can I forget? A mini-map was added, very useful in fact. At first you might be a little bit confused on how it works, but you'll see that wherever you're looking is where it'll be pointing. That's you, essentially, on the mini-map. Enemies, oh my gosh, yeah, this one's actually really cool. As you go through any tomb now, enemies can appear not just in the dungeon rooms, they'll also appear in the hallways too. So throughout the video, you might see me taking a peek every now and then, because I'm like, okay, is there an enemy down there? Because I don't want to just run right into his blade. Usually there's enough distance between them and you, though. You usually have time to upgrade a weapon while you're waiting for them to walk to you. Another thing that was added was a coin chest at the end, so now there's a very more obvious reward at the end of every dungeon. the enemies have more HP and do more damage the further you go. And the what was it? He kind of remade the dungeons so they feel less empty. And yeah, that definitely is very true. I can, as I've been going through and playing the game here and there, I've noticed, yeah, compared to before, it is less empty. Now, something I forgot to actually kind of go through on the video, I mean, you'll see some things here, and if you remember previous videos that you might have seen on YouTube or from me, that the weapons have been redesigned. There's been some weapon redesigns. A shield was added. I did not get to show that off, but works like a shield. You can't. Now, one thing I couldn't get with it is if you can parry with it or not, but regardless, it is an easy blocking tool. Bloodstain appears on weapons. Weapon upgrade effects are shown via like a glow on your weapon. So anytime you upgrade your weapon, you'll see like a green glow or a blue glow, etc. There's bow optimization. They fixed the problem with the katana skill, which is like a little shockwave blade, kind of like Drive from Devil May Cry. What was it? Holding the spear with 2 hands is a little better now. Before, if you were to switch the side on which you hold the spear, it would control as if the spear was still facing front. It was a little weird, but it handles a lot better. Now you could like spin it all over the place and be as cool as you want to be. The pistol has recoil now. The AI's more aggressive. There's more blood that will splatter on the ground when you slash an enemy. The spawn logic for battles are redone. The standstill when player jumped, I think that's just the way the character lands, I believe. How the animation probably... No! Okay, this was a big one. So there was a trick you could use to kind of, cheese your way through dungeons where you could jump yourself onto, say, spikes that were on a wall or something. If you were on higher ground, the enemies would just kind of stand there. They wouldn't do anything. Well, now they'll try to slash at you. So, yeah, jumping and all that is not going to save your butt. But as I said, dashing was removed. Wait, did I mention that? Maybe I didn't. I don't know. But dashing was removed. The up and down dashing was also removed. So you cannot be like, Devil May Cry Trickster. You can't dash all over the place to avoid things. You're gonna have to kind of walk your way around. Your movement speed is much faster, though. I noticed, when you go through the dungeons, yeah, it's not as slow as it was before. And I think one of my most favorite abilities that was added, this one's a new one entirely, is the aerial stay ability. What this is actually a reference to Devil May Cry, where if you attack your enemies in the air, you'll actually float with the enemy. So every time you attack, you'll have a slight upwards boost that keeps you in the air. And what this is known as is an aerial rave. And, hack and slash or fighting games speak, etc. They call it an aerial rave because it's like you're having a party up there. You're going ham on your enemy and you're staying in the air the whole time while you do so. But essentially, this just adds more style to the game. Now you can launch your enemies up or toss them up in the air, use the hammer, the Thor's hammer, hit it on the ground, they go flying, and then jump up there and punch, kick. Well, okay, there's no kick. Was there a kick thing? I can't remember, but yeah, you could punch them or slash them in the air and, feel like a total badass. And then another big one, more preferably for me and perhaps other users of the Quest 2, is there's virtual desktop adaptation. This means that if you wanted to get the demo on Steam or the game on Steam and you play through virtual desktop because you're a Quest 2 user like myself, you'll be able to actually do so. It'll feel just like playing on the Quest. You don't need to use any controller profile from myself or anything. You can just straight up play the game and it'll work and it feels great. Now, this was 0.04. Let's go on to what was changed in 0.05. For one, you move backwards more slowly. So in a way, Fonzie's saying, no, challenge those attacks. Don't run away. Don't try to avoid them. Actually try to parry them. Because yeah, that's free hits that you're getting on your enemy if you successfully do so. So I'll just talk about the more major additions also because there's, plenty that were just fixes in general. And, you wouldn't notice the difference in 0.07. But essentially, one big thing is that you actually have the opportunity to jump if you somewhat miss your jump. So say you're running off an edge and then you're like, oh, I didn't press jump in time. Well, if you still press jump, it'll still register in a way. And then the rest of the notes in this update are mostly fixes or optimizations, things that I might have already mentioned and they just got polished over time. And now on to 0.06 with things that are new since my last video, as well as just things to discuss that are rather interesting. So there is more accurate melee hit detection, so what he lists here is that jittering sword in the fight is less useful. Slow motion is smoother, aerial stake can be triggered when the enemy's even dead. It's easier to cut through enemies, and oh, here's a really fun one. You can grab enemies and pull them more easily, as well as use them as a shield. And another thing that I actually came across in the dungeon is that there is an ability you can get. One of those little, double-edged sword abilities where, okay, one thing gets worse, but you get a new ability. Where if you grab the enemy, and they get attacked, normally they'll be just pushed right out of your hand, but this ability that was added makes it so that they will stay in your hand, so you could use them as a meat shield until they're dead, basically. Ah, there's another good one. One issue I had before was that I would toss a weapon by accident and it would just go so far away, but now there's a little more drag to the weapon so they won't be tossed too far away. However, one thing I've encountered with this is that sometimes your hand will have a memory that the weapon was there and it'll still think it's active for like pulling back, right? If you wanted to toss your weapon and then pull it back to you. Well, that happens far more often, and I don't think it's because of the distance it's tossed, but that's just something I wanted to bring up. So Fonzie, if you're watching this video, that's one thing I think maybe can be changed. Sometimes the weapon's just been on the ground for a bit, I'll be grabbing an enemy and then all of a sudden my weapon comes flying back and yeah, kind of gets in the way. The last two changes I'll bring up are that Dark Elves are not as obsessive about heavy attacks as they used to be. They used to spam the living heck out of strong attacks and you'd have to parry every darn one of them if you wanted to survive, but that's been balanced out now. But the other big change is that modding support was added. Now this was at the more basic level, but the next update, oh yeah. So it was at this point of 0.0.7 that the free grab system was implemented, the ability to grab anything except the environment. So this meant I could do all the goddamn grapple moves I ever wanted to. Wrestling, judo, aikido, krav maga, vale tudo, you name it. And with a little fumbling, I was able to be like Solid Snake and hold a guy while aiming a gun over his shoulder. Precise armor collision detection was also added, along with better leg animation. But yeah, the armor one was a good one because you could go for a guy's legs and just go stabby stab and he'll feel it, as opposed to if you stab higher or lower where the armor is, and yeah, it's not gonna work out too well. But the biggest thing yet was the modding. You can actually put in whatever weapons you want now, as long as you know how. And if you join the Discord, you can actually find out how to do it. He has a whole entire tutorial on how to use the modding workflow and etc. Now, if you want to, you could be Sora from Kingdom Hearts, shoot fire! And you could also do Strike Raid, Ars Arcanum, whatever comes to your imagination. Heck, combine that with the Dash Dagger and you could do Sonic Blade from Kingdom Hearts 1, the one where he's dashing to his enemy back and forth. But overall, I love the update, and there's really not much I can say otherwise, like criticisms that I could give to Fonzie. I know Fonzie was even saying, hey, if you could do any videos and etc. and, give me feedback there, then yeah, but where it's at right now, it's just looking really good. The only thing I could ask for is more weapons and more Devil May Cry stuff. What's there is really good, and what's to come are an improved dismemberment system I'm reading here, as well as hand spells, and also improving the mod toolkit. But hand spells, now that's gonna be cool. Now I'm not sure how fast these hand spells might be, but if it's anything like Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII Remake specifically, the way she does her long-range combat, that would be really cool. Just imagine it, knocking your enemy up into the air, and then casting some elemental magic, and then jumping up after them and slashing them back and forth. Holy smokes, I need to check the modding section of the Discord. If there is a Yuffie weapon, like if there is the 4-point shuriken, Yuffie's 4-point shuriken, the big one, I would do a video with that. That would be really fun. I have never talked about how versatile of a weapon that is. I mean, being as big as it is, it already has, somewhat okay range, but It could be used to block, you could toss it, you could use it at close range. You just get everything, you get the full package. Regardless, before I go off about martial arts and all sorts of things, I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's been long overdue, I guess I would say. And thank you for making it through to the end if you are at this point in the video especially. I've mentioned twice now that you grab the enemy with both triggers, and they could be grabbed anywhere on the body you want. And we discussed a lot of other new things, mods, the aerial stay ability, which is like being Dante when he's comboing enemies in the air, and all sorts of cool stuffs. But Koyo is gonna tune out. So, have a good day.